Day 838 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. The sponsor coming to share more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. It's kind of me directly. We very greatly appreciate it. Today we are doing Siman Tav Kuf Lamed Beis Aleph to Tav Kuf Lamed Gimel Vav. Tav Kuf Lamed Beis. Dine Netilas Tziponayim Chol Moed. Cutting nails on Chol Moed. Aleph Ram Perek Zayin Pasuk the Mutal Litos Tziponayim Chol Moed. Afil Bekli Kedech Nitlas Mechol. I'm possibly allowed to cut your nails even with a tool, as you do on a weekday. Chen Kosab Asmag. So Gam Das Sarif Varosh. They all pass in this way. Shpir Shualim and Bagmar the Beknustra Asur. That was not allowed to use a tool. Zel Avelus. That's about for Avelus. Avallah Chol Moed. It does not apply to Chol Moed. Avatur b'deo shehish shaloi tirak b'sakim below misbaraim. Tur brings an opinion that only was allowed a knife, not scissors. Yesh mishos agam b'sakin. Those are also even scissors, even knives. Only allow you to use your hands. Therefore, the custom is to be machmir on Chol Moed bein b'sakin, bein misbaraim. Interesting, because only the rabbanon pashtus. But whether it's, it depends, actually it's not necessarily true, but it depends how we saw the divine law on Chol Moed. We don't use knives nor scissors. Mishnah Berurah says you can use your hands or your teeth. Mitzvah. It's unless for the mitzvah, going ishal tefillah, so like woman has to go to the mikveh. Koshkin Elshis Baron or some of those people, such as ones came out of prison, etc. Allowed to shave a allowed to cut their nails. Also, somebody who did cut his nails, Erev Yontif. Erev Yontif, Mali told, he didn't have on Erev Yontif anything to cut. When he's got the Chol Moed and the grew during Chol Moed, Mutalitam Chol Evan Shiyotzeh. Cut him up any way he wants. Nirlani is like B'Shas Eskak Mishiyator Rabbeinu Regal. Rosh says if it's compelling circumstances. So he was very distracted before Yontif. Yochel he told Tzipornov he could Chol Moed, he can cut his nails on Chol Moed. Okay, when Shekenu Das Arba Mudeim Lom, because 4 pillars of Psak said that way. Mitito Komine refused B'Chol Moed, allowed to take all sorts of medications of Chol Moed. Mishnah Berurah says he's allowed to complete and total malacha for medical purposes, and even for a chola she'emo sakana, even for a sick person who's not in any danger. So even though if you take medication, it's not going to have so much pleasure by eating and drinking. So kodemes his healing comes first. Even if it's not an absolute, serious illness. Brackets, can you lead the limit isser who? It seems to me that it's not, the issue is not by the isser of preparing medications, which applies on Shabbos. Shows him may the volume. Okay, I don't know what it refers to there. It was not particularly helpful. Okay, Tav Kuf Lamed Gimel. Melachos are permitted on Chol Moed. Turn up on it. Tochlim b'moed l'tzorach hamoed. You can grind on Chol Moed for the purpose of Chol Moed. Shlo l'tzorach hamoed also if it's not for the purpose of Yontif, it's also. It can be for the purpose of Yontif, not just Chol Moed, but it has to be for the purpose of Chol Moed or Yontif. You're talking about l'tzorach hamoed if you did grind for the purpose of Chol Moed, but again for the purpose of Yontif in general. You can grind on Chol Moed for Yontif, either Chol Moed or Yontif. If you did grind for the purpose of the Moed, you have leftover after the Yontif Mutter, you can use it. Code 18, but Moed l'tzorach hamoed. You can also cut down trees for wood for the purpose of the Moed, on the Moed. So l'tzorach hamoed also, it's not for the purpose of the Moed, it's also. If you cut off and you left over some, mutter there permitted. You can put up beer on Chol Moed, l'tzorach hamoed for the purpose of Yontif. So l'tzorach hamoed also, it's not for the purpose of the Yontif, it's also. If you didn't set the beer and then you had extra afterwards, it's permitted. As long as you don't play too big a ruse on this. Arukh HaShulchan says, this is how I understand this brisa. Dinei davar ha'aved sheitu b'moed, something where you would sustain a loss, and that type of work is mincha b'moed. Says after shelo kivei memlachta l'moed. It's only you didn't specifically put off your malacha till chamoed. Chamashlei echol l'takin karamoed, which couldn't fix it for you. Now he's stuck. Came malacha l'moed, but if you deliberately set aside work to do on chamoed. Sheyol as also mikon shekud on previously also it's written Koshis bar simin tav kuf lamaches, as we shall see. Kamashon there was going to tell us the minyone achila b'shus here ain't okay. In terms of eating and drinking, it's not like that. Apil kivin atchina b'moed, even though you designated your grinding take place in Chol Shechol is a kaim. You couldn't have done it before. You have to mutter to it. Zel k'shekaso tu v'shulchan apil kivin malachta b'moed, even if you designated your malacha for doing Chol Moed. Shlo tzorach hamoed aser. I'm sorry. Shlo tzorach hamoed, and if it's not for the purpose of yontif, it's aser afil b'midi achila b'shasiyah. Even something from eating, which is for eating and drinking. And ketachan b'siyah. You ground and you left over. Agak kamash that words come tell us afil k'titzas eitzim sheina achila, even cutting trees, which is not for the purpose of eating. Kevan shebahem masaklim ochlim. Since you fix them, we fix food with them as fuel. You also have to cut them and yontif and cholamoid. I feel kivim lachamoid, even if we left them malacha for cholamoid. Mr. Bura says, if you just need sawdust, now let's cut wood. I guess sawdust is not you do a tikkun for yontif. Mr. also writes, those who are meticulous are careful in Chol Moed that they prepare all the wood, the small piece of wood required for cooking fish before Yontif. And even the split wood on Chol Moed, big wood you can't use unless you cut it down, is okay. No, not okay. Since you could have done it before Yontif, you should have done it before Yontif. Okay, that's certainly the Chatchila. You're supposed to do it before Yontif. And then but it seems like even you're chaving lach to the moed to get the wood, it would be okay. Then afterwards, the Bryce tells us even starting to make a brew of dates or barley. It takes a lot of toil. People prepare it for long term. Nevertheless came to it's the purpose of drinking. Mutar fil kim malachta yomayit. It's mutar even if you designated the malacha to be on Chol Moed. Gimel b'kasu abba seinu b'alei shulchan b'sifal. You ain't yirshad something. You can't be precise in measuring what you need specifically Chol Moed. Elish shoseh bar bacha. You make expansively. Yosef, if we leave over. Avalo yarim, but do not play a ruse or trick. Lidchon to grind or so shake or to make beer. Yosef b'kavana. Deliberately more than you need. If you have flour or old beer, in other words, you already have it. Don't make a ruse. Don't make a trick to make other flour or other beer. You know, Zaddy relates into saying one from this. If you have bread, you're mutter pass. You have to grind more flour for a new bread. The pass everybody knows that fresh bread tastes better. Mr. Burr says, even if he has very fine bread, he's allowed to bake coarser bread for the purpose of Chol Moed. So it's at least somewhat necessary on Chol Moed. And you do it expansively, and if you leave over, you leave over. So fresh bread is fresh bread. Says besides that, this is all quote from the Shulchan Aruch. This is also true about beer. If the new one is better, below arama without any tricks. Sorry to admit it. I can't show him. End quote. If he did pull a trick, also it doesn't become us. You're allowed to eat and drink it. Can't be so stringent on these tricks. I feel beyond the because even in Yontif, certain things where harama is okay. But it's time tough kuf gimel, as we saw. Because it should be even better than Yontif. The Shur writes that it's possible that here it's about we did not pour the wheat into the grinder more than one time. He did everything in one time, um, and but it was obviously more than you actually needed. So that's like a simatuv kav gimel. That if you cook more at one time, not in two pots, it's okay. But according to the portion that say there that that's only if you did it deliberately. But if you were trying to play a trick, it's also in the evid because there were a machmir on you. So here it's possible also it's going to be also. Uh, uh, Avo below harama. If you did it without a trick, so that's like echad mikol elu. So it's echad moed without anything straight out, not for the purpose of yontif. Also going to be evid. So it's even the evid. English you can ask. You can echad sin chol bal rechaim tochlim b'moed. How can all the millers grind on yontif? Achal moed. B'chein kol seish teichon. So to all the beer makers. Yesh one the second b'dinei mischar. She's brought some kuflam tes. Separate issue. Commerce. Kol sheish hefsei mikisa mutter. Anytime you're going to lose money out of pocket, it's okay. K'mo shlev Hashem. Saying I have a hefsei mikisa. And here it's lost a pocket. Shem b'shleim schiros b'arechayim. You're paying the rental for the mill. And you have people you're paying to work. You're paying for every day. So therefore, it's the davar ave by us, as opposed to as opposed to Gemara. They're going to say about betchinas b'sheicha shechol echad osatzmo, not commercial. We need to meet your costs and expenses. Gemara is more machmir, and we do it as an individual. Rambam Perek Zayin Kosev. Rambam writes, Yoshan, even though you have old marim, you can pull a trick. Drink from the new. People can't identify this trick so easily. And so to all other subtle ruses. There's another posting. There's a machlekes out there. So person allows it as a das yachid. Isolated opinion. Ayin sham. Those who answered the tafka by Ramazu matir. Specifically in this trick, he's matir. In this ruse, we want to drink from the new. Ava barama gemura, but a real absolute trick. And in order to cook for a weekday. Yom you're saying do it for chalamoy. So then that's also. The Maggid is in this manner. This is the Bach. Even though there's a logic to this. The Shas does not make that distinction between Harama Gemura and this Harama. Yesha takes those answers from the Shabbos and Masech Shabbos, partly Brisa, as by Marina Amisha Omer Sham Shasularim. There's a story about a case, I know the case of him where you do Harama. The Brisa says you Harama, it's Kash, the person says you can't do Harama. And with Tara, it's an answer, and then she ain't Harama Zunikeres. Harama is not obvious, is okay. I'm the Kain Halacha. So it sounds like that is the Halacha. Mishnah writes that you should not protest somebody who wants to rely on the Svara. But the Prima Goyim, it sounds like, according to the opinion, the Melechas is awesome. You shouldn't be makel even with a ruse which is not easily recognized. And therefore, it's appropriate to conduct oneself, like the Bear Hatev says, that only a non-Jew should do it, and a Jew should only help him, but not do the actual Maisa. It was a doubtful case like this. Am I up to? Vani Omer says Arukh HaShulchan. I say, Sugya in its original basis also works out well. Shas brings down my cotton Shnei Brises, two Brises. The Ba'achas Shani when we learn Stam generically. The Mutar Harim you can do ruses. Ba'achas we learn generically. Das Harim now we have to do ruses. The Tires have a plug tonight, and the resolution is that it's a argument among Tanoim Einsham. It's a Brisa Materes. It's a Brisa which allows stomach divrei. It's a generic Brisa, no attribution, like the words of the individual. Shomarim says you are allowed to do a ruse. For Brisa Seres, a Brisa which forbids stomach divrei osim. It's generic Brisa like the prohibit, like those who prohibit. The came and changed Brisas mechulakos. Is there are battling prices. Hokim b'Rabbanan l'Hakel, but the Rabbanan were lenient. But it came on Shafilu Gabi Shabbos came on the El Simon Gimel. Even in terms of Shabbos, we said the Ma'arimin Lifrofel goes. You can make harama to use a nut as part of your garment to transport it from place to place, even though there's no eruv. Kosh Kishim Harimin Kleotim Shabbos Karmas in order to take that nut out from into the karmas from your house. Kosh Kishim Harimin Cholamayit, you certainly can play ruses on Cholamayit. This is Rabbanan, rabbinic prohibitions. This is like Misavi Raya Brula Rambam, and this is clear evidence for the Rambam that harama is okay. It says in brackets, "Kam das mogen Avram Shem Lipsoka Rambam B'chein Kol Sav El Rabba." They all passing like the Rambam. Halach Simnei Sifei Va'afil Asos Malach B'Shul Chasos B'Hem Tvar Machol. Even to malacha to cover some food stuff. Gankim with the Cholamayit, Sos with the Cholamayit. Kabin Shalom, like it says, "You're showing the mek or kitna." You're allowed to uproot flax. Korpishtan to uproot the flax. The Chasos Ba'Ochlim. Or to cover other food, the Perish Rashi. Around for Shisel Linoshim Linoi. I told him, and he says for women for decoration purposes. Lachufba upon him in order to scrub their faces. Ain't sarach l'chol gibel, even though for this you don't need the entire stalk. El lazer, only the seed. The kumagal nevertheless mutu l'akar you can uproot the entire thing. Shilazera for the purpose of the seed. The Yev Shabin Acha is no other way to do it to get the seed. I think I missed. No. So it says Chachamim. He adds on Chachamim allowed you to uproot it even from the root. They don't have to make a shinoi because Chachamim will not matriach you. Okay. From his words from the Rambam, the Gamashil Kishut Mutter Lasos Mochamoy. Also for dormant, you have to do Mochamoy. You also allowed you to uproot hops to put them into the beer for the purpose of the moed. I don't know what chiddush is, or it's Bashan. But he tier the hakor shum shemim michabacham allowed you to harvest sesame on chomai. Abishum ein relachila adish yapshin. Most of them not suitable for eating until they dry. The tokach yavor amoy, and that's only going to be after yontif. Kakam nevertheless yesh bohem mixas garinim she's yapshu. There are few kernels which became dry. Suitable to eat. Miyad immediately. For these small amount of seeds, you can move the entire stalk. Okay, the Mishnah Berurah says these are not our sesame seeds. Our sesame seeds are absolutely food. And some sort of seed from which you make oil, or they fry it, the seed in honey, the soup to eat. Mishnah Berurah writes also that all these things we're talking about, they're only matter to do kedei tzarko, whatever you need, not to leave or to cook excessively. Fruit which is somewhat ripe. You can fill portions of to eat it. Allowed to gather them because they love them to eat them. Okay, we don't say people don't normally eat this way. There are some people do eat this way. If you gather them and you ate them, leftover, you're afraid they're going to get wormy. If you don't press them, to the moisture from them, like a fruit which is not fully ripe. Mutar le kabshon. Yeah, you're allowed to press them. I will also lock them, but you can't collect them deliberately. Or to press them, in order they should be ready after yontif. The malacha, the gemara lo hutra achar moed, total real malacha was not permitted for the purpose after yontif. Even though you won't be able to get the specific substance after yontif. But to buy them, not pluck them, to buy them and then to press them, it's permitted. Well, you're not going to get them after Yontif came and Shein Kam Malacha Gemura. Because the plucking off the tree is Malacha Gemura, but not the pressing. Pierre Malacha writes that this is by talking about fruit of Hefker or of non-Jews, but by a Jew, and they're going to get ruined if you leave them after Kol Hamoed. It's only permitted to do something quickly because it's a davar avi. But says also it's going to get more expensive afterwards. You can buy them on Kol Hamoed. The local writes that the Shita said they weren't master any malacha to make a profit, but only to retain your identity as a merchant. According to this, to be usher to press them for after Yontif. You can say this is more lenient than other malachas because, according to the strict letter of the law, there is no such thing as tanning or working food. And I guess the kafshan would be a form of tanning or working it. Okay, normally since only one sieve left in the similar, we usually do it, but it happens to be a double length sieve, so we'll leave it for tomorrow night.